So, um, have you ever walked into a completely new environment? Like maybe a new school or starting a new job, even just joining a new social group.
Oh, yeah. That feeling.
Right. And you feel like you're just standing completely outside of all, like a silent observer while everything else is buzzing around you.
Mhm.
That initial excitement, about the fresh start, it can fade really quickly, can't it?
Yeah, it gets replaced by this sort of quiet, almost nagging loneliness.
Exactly. You're physically surrounded by people, maybe hundreds, could be thousands, but you
Yeah.
feel just utterly alone.
It's like being at a huge party, but you're stuck behind that velvet rope,
Right.
just watching everyone else having a good time.
Totally. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. That feeling, that really deep, universal human need we all have for connection.
It's fundamental.
It is, and we all grapple with it, especially when stepping into, uncharted social territory.
Mm.
And the challenge of making new friends, particularly somewhere that seems super busy and interconnected like a university campus, well, it can feel absolutely overwhelming.
It really can't. It feels like everyone else just sort of arrived with the instructions already figured out.
Yeah. Like they got the secret manual, the hidden handshake, and you're just standing there thinking, did mine get lost in the mail?
Right. And it's not just for freshmen, right? It happens when you start a new job, move to a new city.
Oh, definitely. Anytime you're the new person trying to break in.
That feeling that everyone else has it figured out.
So today, we're going to do a deep dive into exactly this challenge. We've got some really incredible source material to guide us.
Yeah, this one's quite unique.
It is. It's a guide specifically designed to help navigate social anxiety and actually build friendships. And what's really special about it is its approach.
The storytelling aspect.
Exactly. It's really vivid, uses storytelling almost like a practical, step-by-step how-to manual for, well, human connection.
Yeah, it follows the student, Leo. Very relatable.
Super relatable. So our core source material comes from the Social Architect's Guide to Building Friendships, and we follow Leo's journey. But we're also taking a crucial detour.
Ah, the practical side of things.
The very practical side.
Yeah.
Because alongside building that social life, nailing down the essential life knowledge about money, especially for students, is just as vital.
Absolutely critical for independence.
Totally. So we'll be pulling out key insights on things like budgeting methods, savvy saving tips, basically turning those abstract fears, both the social ones and the financial ones, into actual actionable blueprints.
Nice. So the mission is?
The mission is to help you, the listener, become a master architect, not just of your social world, but crucially of your financial future, too.
And what's really fascinating here with this guide is how it kicks things off with its central metaphor right away.
Which is?
It's this really profound idea that friendship isn't just something that randomly occurs, something that passively happens to you.
Right, like it's luck or magic.
Exactly. Instead, the guide frames it as something that is actively built. It uses this incredibly powerful, almost tangible imagery.
The islands and bridges.
Yeah, the islands and bridges. And it resonates so deeply, I think, because it takes something kind of abstract, like social connection, and makes it feel concrete, manageable.
That makes sense. It takes the mystery out of it a bit.
It does. And when we connect this to the bigger picture, you'll see this deep dive isn't just a theoretical mumbo-jumbo.
It's practical.
It's genuinely practical, a step-by-step guide. It breaks down that huge, often overwhelming task of making friends and actually managing your money, too, into these bite-sized concrete steps.
Like an architect's blueprint.
Precisely. Like an architect's blueprint for building something complex, one piece at a time. It helps shift that abstract fear, whether it's social isolation or maybe financial worry, into a plan you can actually act on. It's empowering.
That reframe is, well, it's huge, isn't it? Not just waiting around hoping for connection, but actively building it.
Yeah.
Plank by plank, like you said. And our story, Leo's journey, it starts right there. Smack bang in the middle of that initial isolation. You have to picture him, right? First day at university, sitting in this huge, bustling dining hall.
Oh, I can picture it. The noise.
The source describes it so vividly. A cavernous room buzzing with the sound of 1,000 conversations he wasn't a part of. You can almost feel that, can't you?
Yeah, the sensory overload.
All that noise, the laughter, the chatter, but at the same time feeling completely, utterly alone. Surrounded by people, yet he had never felt so alone.
It really is like being stranded on a tiny island while all these vibrant ships sail past, everyone laughing and calling out, totally unaware you're there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sending out a silent distress signal no one sees. And it's so painfully relatable, isn't it? Leo's doing the classic move.
Let me guess, pretending to be intensely interested in his phone.
You got it.
Yeah.
Expertly pretending. Scrolling through old photos of his high school friends, seeing them laughing, already forming new groups at their own colleges, their feeds full of adventures.
Well, for him, it feels like Groundhog Day. Every day is the first day again.
Totally. That constant replay of awkwardness, the source, really nails that feeling that everyone had it all figured out except for him. His routine had already become this quiet, isolating pattern. Wake up, drag himself to class, sit right at the back.
And then retreat back to the dorm room as fast as possible.
His safe island? Absolutely. Yeah. The very idea of just walking up to a group of strangers and saying, hi, felt, well, impossible. Like sprouting wings.
Yeah, what would you even say?
Right, what do you say? They all seem so effortlessly cool, funny, interesting, like they got that secret instruction manual.
And yours got lost. Or maybe never existed.
Exactly. And it's such a common experience, isn't it? College, new city, new job. That feeling of being the outsider, invisible in plain sight.
It really is. But this is where Sam comes in, Leo's resident advisor.
Ah, the catalyst for change.
Exactly. He provides that crucial glimmer of hope. And Sam's intervention is just so important because the first thing he does is normalize Leo's struggle.
How does he do that?
He just openly, almost casually confesses. He says something like, you know, my entire first month of freshman year, I ate dinner in my room because I was too terrified to go to the dining hall alone.
Wow. Coming from an RA, someone who seems like they have it all together.
Exactly. It's incredibly powerful. It instantly tells Leo, and anyone listening who feels this way, that this isolation isn't some unique personal failing. It's normal. It's a shared human thing.
Takes the pressure off immediately.
Hugely. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, Sam's insight that everyone feels like they're on a lonely island at first, it just completely reframes that initial struggle.
It's not what's wrong with me. It's, oh, this is part of the process.
Precisely. It lifts that huge burden. It's not a defect. It's just the starting point, often unspoken. And then he introduces the key concept.
The bridge builder.
The bridge builder. He tells Leo, quite seriously, you're not waiting for a rescue ship to come find you. You have to become a bridge builder.
That's a massive shift in mindset, active versus passive.
It's crucial. From waiting to constructing. Friendship, Sam explains, is built plank by plank. It's not this mystical thing that just happens to lucky people.
Love that. Built plank by plank.
And he uses this brilliant analogy, paints a really clear picture. He says, you don't start by trying to construct the Golden Gate Bridge, connecting your tiny island to a whole continent of people.
Right, that would be impossible. Terrifying.
Totally overwhelming. He says, instead, you build a tiny, maybe even shaky footbridge to the island right next to you. Then another, and another. Eventually, you'll find yourself part of a whole archipelago.
Ah, that's good. It emphasizes the small steps, incremental progress.
Exactly. It transforms this daunting, massive task into something you can actually do, one small, deliberate step at a time. It's recognizing that every big structure, right, whether it's a skyscraper or your social life, starts with just one brick, one plank.
That reframe is...
Agreed.
Yeah, it changes everything. It takes this huge, scary social mountain and turns it into, like, small, climbable hills, each with a clear path. And this is exactly where it gets really interesting, as the source puts it. Sam doesn't just stop at philosophy or encouragement.
He gets practical.
He pulls out this small, maybe slightly worn notepad and says, with a bit of a conspiratorial wink, okay, I'm going to give you the blueprints. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to start building.
Yeah.
And that signals this crucial shift, right, for Leo and for us listening. We're moving from just understanding the problem
to getting concrete, actionable solutions.
Exactly. It's that pivotal moment where the abstract fear starts morphing into a practical step-by-step plan.
And what's truly fascinating here is how the guide introduces that very first blueprint. Blueprint #1, the 5-minute footbridge.
Okay, tell me about the footbridge.
Well, the core idea behind it is just so clever, and it's really rooted in, basic human psychology. It's designed to make a human connection so fleeting and low stakes that your anxiety doesn't even have time to boot up.
Well, I like that. Low stakes, fleeting.
Crucial, especially if you struggle with that initial social fear. It minimizes the perceived risk to almost zero. It's about creating the most basic structure, just turning an anonymous face in the crowd into a known entity.
So not aiming for instant best friends.
Not at all. The immediate goal is simply breaking the ice in the gentlest, most non-committal way possible. It subtly uses that mere exposure effect. The idea that we tend to like things more just because we're familiar with them.
Right. Familiarity breeds comfort.
Exactly. So even a brief, repeated, positive interaction starts building that familiarity and lowering the anxiety barrier.
Okay, so how does it work in practice? The application must be simple then.
Elegantly simple. Almost deceptively so. The ideal location. Sam suggests the 5 minutes before class starts or after it ends.
Ah, built-in time limit. Genius.
Totally. It inherently keeps the interaction brief and low pressure. You know it won't drag on forever. Your target.
A person next to you.
The person who sits next to you. They are your nearest island. Again, simplicity itself. No need to scan the whole room or pick the coolest person. Just look sideways. Proximity is your friend here.
Okay, location, target. What about the materials? The planks for this footbridge?
Equally straightforward. The guide gives you options. You just pick one plank.
Okay.
First, there's the shared experience plank. Something like, wow, that lecture was intense, wasn't it? What did you think of the part about mention a specific topic?
Using the common ground you already have. Smart.
Exactly. You both just sat through the same thing. Easy opener. Then there's the simple question plank. Maybe, hey, sorry, have you started the reading for next week? I'm trying to figure out where to begin.
Practical, low pressure, asking for info.
Right. It's functional, not deeply personal, which feels safer. Or, third option, the observation plank. Like, hey, that's a cool sticker on your laptop. Is that from a show or something?
Specific, personal-ish, but not intrusive. Like an open door, not a demand.
Precisely. It's an invitation, not an interrogation.
Okay, and the method. How do you actually do it?
Couldn't be simpler, honestly, but maybe feels hard the first time. The guide says, turn to them. Make eye contact for literally 1 second. You can do it. Ask your question. Listen to the answer. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And the guide is really explicit here. This is key. You don't need to follow up with some brilliant, witty remark. That's not the goal.
So the goal is just making contact.
The goal is just to have your voice cross the physical space between you, to register your presence, to be seen and heard by another person, even for a moment. It's about being present, not putting on a performance.
Right. Okay, so tell me about Leo. Did he try it? How did it go?
Oh, yeah. His first success story with this is just, it's perfect, like a mini movie scene.
Okay, paint the picture.
So next day, history lecture, you can almost feel his heart pounding, right? As this girl he sort of vaguely recognizes sits down next to him.
Mm-hmm. The internal monologue is probably going wild.
Totally. But he takes that deep breath. Remember Sam's advice. Just one plank. Just one. When the lecture ends, he turns to her, his voice maybe a little shaky.
We've all been there.
And asks, hey, did the professor say the paper was due on the 5th or the 6th?
Okay, simple question, Plank. Good choice. And the outcome.
Exactly as designed.
Yeah.
Brilliantly simple. The source says, she smiled. Oh, the 6th. He moved it back. Oh, cool. Thanks, Leo managed to say. And that was literally it. The entire interaction lasted maybe 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Quick, painless.
Utterly non-dramatic, but a quiet, huge success for him. And the real impact, the subtle bit, came later.
Yeah.
The guide says the next time he saw her in the hallway, just passing between classes, she gave him a little nod of recognition and a small smile.
The recognition nod.
Recognition nod, that's the footbridge. It was rickety, the guide says. Maybe a bit wobbly, but it was unmistakably there. He wasn't just some random face in the crowd anymore.
He was the guy who asked about the due date.
Exactly. He was a known entity. And that simple nod, that tiny act of recognition, that's the first crucial step. It starts building that feeling of connection, carving out a little space in the social landscape.
Okay, so this really raises an important question, doesn't it? Why does something so small, seemingly insignificant, actually work?
It's fascinating, right? It really taps into simple human psychology. Things like reciprocity and recognition.
Reciprocity. Like, you acknowledge me, I acknowledge you back.
Pretty much. When you acknowledge someone, even super briefly, it kind of invites them gently to acknowledge you back. It's like this tiny nonverbal agreement to see each other.
And it breaks the ice without any real commitment.
Exactly. No pressure for a long conversation. You're not trying to be charming or hilarious. You're just showing you're present and, crucially, approachable.
Right. And that small act, just crossing that social space once,
it immediately lowers the barrier for the next interaction because you've already made that first non-threatening connection. They know you exist now. They've heard your voice, seen your face. You're not a complete stranger anymore.
It's like a tiny investment in a future social bond.
That's a great way to put it, a micro-investment. And this blueprint, the 5-minute footbridge, it's not just for students, is it?
No way. You could use this anywhere.
Think about it. How could you, listening right now, apply this today? Maybe you're waiting in line for coffee?
Yeah, a quick comment about the weight or the weather.
Or at the gym, maybe ask someone nearby if they're finished with a piece of equipment.
Even in a virtual meeting, right? A quick, relevant chat message to a colleague about the topic at hand.
Absolutely. It's about finding those tiny, opportune moments to just make yourself a known entity. Lay that first, very small plank for something more. I remember when I first started going to professional networking things.
Oh, yeah.
I used to totally overthink approaching people, but then I started just asking about a detail on their name tag or a comment they made during a talk. Super low stakes.
And how did that go?
9 times out of 10, they seemed almost relieved, Relieved to have an easy, low-stakes way to start chatting. Everyone feels that awkwardness sometimes.
So true. Okay, so we have the footbridge. What comes next? Blueprint number 2.
Right. Building on those initial, maybe slightly wobbly footbridges, Blueprint #2 introduces the causeway.
A causeway. Okay, that sounds more substantial.
It is. The guide describes it as a road built on a solid foundation. And in social terms, that solid foundation is
Shared interests.
exactly a shared interest. And what's really fascinating here is how that pre-existing common ground naturally provides context. It gives you built-in conversation topics.
So it feels less forced, more organic.
Infinitely less forced than trying to conjure up small talk out of thin air, right? It's about leveraging something you're already passionate about to find your people. Makes the whole social journey feel less like work and more like, play.
Because you're connecting over something you genuinely care about.
Precisely. It taps into that fundamental human desire we have to connect over shared experiences, shared values, shared passions.
Okay, so where do you build these causeways? The practical application.
The locations are pretty intuitive, actually. The guide suggests places like clubs, student groups, intramural sports teams, volunteer organizations.
Makes sense. Places designed around common interests.
Exactly. They aren't just random spots. They're environments specifically curated for common interests, which means you're starting off with people who already share a built-in reason for being there. You have something in common before you even open your mouth.
And the target for this blueprint, who are you connecting with?
This is crucial, the guide says. A group dedicated to something you genuinely enjoy. And it explicitly warns, and I think this is so important, don't join the pre-law society because you think it looks good on your resume if you secretly hate legal theory.
Good advice.
Right. It says, if you love bad movies, join the sci-fi and fantasy film club. If you like to hike, join the outing club. The emphasis is squarely on authenticity.
So the materials for this blueprint are your real passions.
Your genuine self, your authentic passion, that's what you bring. And that authenticity is what leads to much more sustainable, much more fulfilling connections down the line.
Okay, authenticity is key. What about the method? How does the interaction actually happen in these groups?
This is the beautiful part. It's almost effortless once you're physically there. The guide says the beauty of the causeway is that the activity itself does the heavy lifting for you. You don't need to invent conversation topics.
Because the conversation is the activity.
Exactly. Think about it. If you're in the hiking club.
You talk about the trail, the view, maybe complain about the steep bits together.
Right. Or in the gaming club, you're immersed in debating strategy, celebrating a win, maybe laughing about a terrible roll of the dice.
The game provides the script.
Totally. Or if you're in a volunteer group, you're discussing the task, coordinating what needs doing, talking about why the work matters. The common interest provides the whole framework.
It takes the pressure off the, what do I say, question.
Completely. It replaces it with, how do we do this thing together? Which feels much more natural, almost unconscious.
Okay, so let's go back to Leo. Did he find a causeway?
He did. And his story here illustrates this perfectly. Turns out, Leo had always secretly loved strategy board games.
A closet gamer.
Kind of. And one day, he finally musters up the courage, finds a flyer for a weekly board game night happening in the student union.
Okay, big step.
Huge step. And the source is really honest about this. It says, walking into that room alone was one of the hardest things he'd ever done.
Yeah, I can imagine. That takes real bravery. Putting yourself out there, no guarantee of how it'll go.
Absolutely. But the payoff, it was almost immediate and incredibly rewarding. The guide says, within minutes, he was huddled over a table with 3 other people, fiercely debating the best way to secure more sheep resources in Catan.
Straight into the thick of it.
Instantly immersed. And the transformation for Leo was just profound. Instantaneous.
Oh, so.
Well, the source says he wasn't Leo the lonely freshman anymore, consumed by his self-consciousness. He was simply the guy with all the sheep, totally absorbed in the game in the moment.
He became part of the activity, not just an observer.
Exactly. An active, engaged participant. He talked, he laughed, and he completely forgot to be anxious, which is so key.
Yeah, that genuine engagement overrides the anxiety.
Completely. When you're absorbed in something you truly love, doing it with others who love it too, that fear just fades into the background. Authentic connection happens almost without you realizing you're trying to make friends.
You found his causeway. A solid foundation.
A solid, vibrant foundation for potentially more meaningful interactions down the road.
This really does raise an important question then. Why do shared activities lower those social barriers so effectively? What's the mechanism?
I think it's because they provide that pre-existing natural context for interaction, right? You're not starting from zero with generic small talk about the weather.
You're jumping straight into meaningful engagement around a common passion.
Exactly. Which dramatically reduces the pressure to perform socially. The focus shifts, like we said, from that internal worry, what do I say, how do I seem interesting, to an external focus. How do we play this game? How do we finish this volunteer task?
It fosters an immediate sense of camaraderie, shared purpose.
Yeah, and even a kind of collective identity. We're the board gamers, we're the hikers. Those feelings are incredibly powerful builders of connection.
So for you listening, how can you identify potential causeways in your own life?
Right. It doesn't have to be a formal university club. It could be anything.
A local book club, maybe? A community sports league?
A crafting group, a volunteer initiative at a local charity, even an online community dedicated to some niche interest you have.
Like a Discord server for a specific video game, or a forum for vintage car enthusiasts.
Absolutely. The key is finding something you genuinely love, something that makes you forget your anxieties when you're doing it. Find that, and the authentic connections often follow naturally.
Okay, so we have footbridges for initial contact, causeways built on shared interests. What's the next step? How do you go deeper?
Now we get to blueprint, #3, the suspension bridge.
Suspension bridge sounds like a bigger leap.
It is. The guide calls this one the scariest to build because it requires a leap of faith. This is really the critical transition point. It's where those casual connections, the ones made on footbridges and causeways, start to deepen into potentially genuine, lasting friendships.
Okay, so what's the main tool here? How do you build this suspension bridge?
What's fascinating here is the guide identifies the primary tool for this leap as simply the invitation.
The invitation. Sounds simple, but I guess it feels big.
It's a simple word, yeah, but it carries significant weight, doesn't it? Because making an invitation signals a conscious desire for deeper connection. It goes beyond the immediate shared context of the classroom or the club meeting.
It's basically saying, hey, I enjoy interacting with you here, and I'd like to do more of it.
Exactly. I value this connection enough that I want to extend it beyond this specific setting. It shows intention.
Okay, so practical application. How does this work? Where do you issue this invitation?
Well, the good news is it offers a lot of flexibility. The guide says it can be launched from anywhere after class, at the end of a club meeting, maybe bumping into someone in the dining hall.
So not tied to one specific place? That's good. Versatile.
Very. But the target, this is absolutely vital. The guide stresses someone on the other end of an existing footbridge or causeway.
So you're building on what's already there,
Yeah.
not cold calling for deep friendship.
Definitely not. Cold approaching strangers for deep friendship is usually too big a leap, too high risk. This is about deepening an existing connection you've already carefully nurtured, not creating a deep one from absolute scratch.
Got it. Build on the foundation. What about the materials for this suspension bridge? What kind of invitation are we talking about?
This is another crucial detail. The guide calls it a low-stakes offer. The emphasis is really on keeping the invitation casual and low commitment.
Why low stakes?
To de-escalate the perceived risk, both for you making the invitation and for the person receiving it. You're not asking them to marry you, right?
No. Just maybe grab a coffee.
Exactly. You're just asking for a small, shared experience. The guide gives a few examples.
Right.
The study session. Hey, do you maybe want to get together sometime this week to study for that midterm? It's goal-oriented, uses that shared struggle as a bonding point. Natural, easy.
Makes sense. Shared pain.
Or the food drink run. Hey, I'm heading to the coffee shop after this meeting. Want to come along? Super simple, immediate, casual, a very common, low-pressure social thing. Most people are open to a quick coffee or snack.
True. Hard to say no to coffee sometimes.
Or maybe the group expansion, especially for someone from a club, like, hey, a few of us from the game night are going to grab pizza after this. You should totally join us if you're free.
Ah, safety in numbers. Less direct pressure, more like an open door to a group thing.
Precisely. It feels less intense than a one-on-one invitation sometimes.
Okay, so the method is just ask. Bravely.
Pretty much. The guide says, take a deep breath and extend the invitation. But it really hammers home that the key is to keep it casual. You're not asking them to be your best friend for life. You're simply asking them to share a pizza or maybe study for an hour.
Framing it that way helps, doesn't it? Minimizes the internal pressure. Makes it feel less daunting.
Definitely. It's about being brave just for that one moment of asking.
So, Leo again, did he manage this leap of faith? Did he build a suspension bridge?
He did. And the guide calls his breakthrough the milkshake moment, which I just love.
The milkshake moment. Okay, set the scene.
It's after the next board game night. Leo sees a couple of the guys he'd really enjoyed playing Catan with, getting ready to pack up and leave.
Okay, here it comes. Heart pounding.
Oh, yeah. Heart pounding, familiar rhythm. He knows this is it. This is his leap of faith moment. And the source says, with his voice a little shaky, which just makes him so relatable.
Totally. We've all had the shaky voice moment.
He takes that deep breath and manages to get out, hey, I was thinking of grabbing a late-night milkshake nearby. Anyone want to join?
Wow. Good for him. That takes guts.
It really does. The bravery is palpable, and the reward for that vulnerability, it's immediate and profoundly positive.
Yeah. What happened?
The guide says, one guy's face just lit up. Oh, man, I'm totally in. That sounds amazing right now. And another guy agreed, already pulling out his phone to check directions to the place.
Oh, that's fantastic. See, other people wanted connection too.
Exactly. It shows that often other bridge builders are out there just waiting for someone else to make the first move, to extend that invitation.
So they went for milkshakes.
They did. They walked over to this nearby diner. And crucially, the guide notes, for the first time, the conversation wasn't just about game strategy or who had the most sheep.
Ah, it shifted.
It shifted. It was about their hometowns, their complaints about terrible professors, their shared love for old, cheesy sci-fi movies. It was a real conversation, flowing freely, authentically.
That's the difference, isn't it? Moving from the topic to the personal.
Absolutely. The guide concludes he had built a suspension bridge. It illustrates that profound shift from the superficial, activity-driven interaction to something more personal, more vulnerable, and ultimately way more meaningful.
That's the moment acquaintances start actually turning into friends.
That's the pivot.
Yeah.
Where the shared experience moves beyond just the activity itself to a deeper sharing of who you are.
Okay, so that milkshake moment, it really brings up this question of vulnerability, doesn't it?
Mm.
Why is taking that small risk, extending the invitation, so powerful?
It's a great question. That small act of extending an invitation, of just putting yourself out there even slightly, is a crucial form of vulnerability, isn't it?
Yeah, you're risking rejection, however small.
You are, but it demonstrates initiative. It shows a willingness to be seen, and it clearly signals, I want more connection with you. And when that vulnerability is met with acceptance, like it was for Leo.
Or even just reciprocated later through sharing personal stories.
Right. It actively builds trust. And trust really is the absolute bedrock of any deeper friendship. It shows you're willing to invest a little bit of yourself, and that implicitly invites the other person to do the same.
Like that reciprocity of self-disclosure idea. You share a bit, they share a bit back.
Exactly. It creates this positive feedback loop, this virtuous cycle of deepening connection and trust. When you open up just a little, it makes it safer for them to open up a little, and so on.
So for you listening, maybe think about what small, low-stakes invitation you could extend this week.
Yeah. Is there someone you've already got a bit of a footbridge or causeway with? Someone you chat with briefly before class, or someone from your volunteer group?
Maybe invite them for that quick coffee. Or suggest studying together, or even just joining a larger group thing you're already doing.
That one small step, that tiny leap of faith, can be a truly powerful catalyst for building that suspension bridge. It's usually not about the grand gestures.
It's about consistent, small acts of reaching out, opening up just a little.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the blueprints. Footbridge, causeway, suspension bridge. But what about the overall strategy, the long game?
Right. So Sam, the wise RA, doesn't leave Leo hanging there. He gives him one last, really crucial piece of advice. The guide calls it the Bridge Inspector's Final Guide.
Ooh, the Bridge Inspector's Guide. Sounds official.
It's basically the enduring rules of the road, Practical principles for building and maintaining connections throughout life. And it's vital to get that these aren't just for students.
They apply anywhere, anytime you're building relationships.
Exactly. At work, in a new city, even strengthening ties you already have. This is like the ongoing maintenance manual for your social architecture.
Okay, what's rule number 1?
What's fascinating here is the first rule really hammers home that proactive effort we talked about. Rule 1 is, be the builder, not the spectator.
Taking initiative.
Yes. Sam tells Leo really clearly, don't just wait around for other people to approach you. The single most powerful step you can take is usually the first one. It's all about embracing your own agency.
You're not just passively receiving social life, you're actively creating it.
Exactly. You're the architect. Taking that first step, no matter how small or maybe scary it feels, immediately shifts your mindset from waiting to doing, from hoping to creating. It's empowering.
Okay, be the builder. What's rule 2?
Rule 2 ties right back to those initial blueprints, reinforcing the power of starting small. Start with small planks.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Don't try to be a stand-up comedian on your first interaction. You don't need to be a social media influencer. A simple, relevant question, a small observation that's the perfect building material.
It stresses that low-pressure approach again. Connection doesn't need dazzling gestures.
Right. It needs genuine, brief engagement, consistency and authenticity over trying to put on some kind of show.
Makes sense. Rule 3.
Now, rule 3, not every bridge is meant to last. This one is so incredibly important, I think, for resilience, for maintaining your self-esteem through this process.
Okay, what's the core message here? Dealing with rejection.
Essentially, yeah. Sam advises Leo, look, some people just won't be receptive. Some conversations are going to fizzle out. That's not a failure on your part.
Doesn't mean you did something wrong.
Exactly. The guide frames it as, it's just an incompatible building site. It says absolutely nothing about your worth as an architect. This reframe is crucial.
Why is it so crucial?
Because it depersonalizes rejection. It helps you understand that a fizzled interaction or someone not responding warmly doesn't necessarily reflect badly on you. Maybe they were having a bad day, maybe you just don't click, maybe they're not looking for new friends right now.
It allows you to just move on to the next potential connection.
Right. Learn from it if there's something to learn, but don't get bogged down. Keep building without letting every non-starter crush your motivation. Not every connection needs to be deep or lasting, and that's okay.
Okay, that's huge. Rule 4.
Once you've successfully built a bridge, Rule 4 reminds us that maintenance is required.
Relationships need upkeep, like a real bridge.
Exactly, like a real bridge. They need ongoing tending, ongoing care to stay strong and functional. The guide suggests simple things. A simple, hey, how's it going, when you pass someone in the hall.
Or maybe a quick text just checking in.
Yeah, or remembering a small detail they mentioned last time you talked and bringing it up. Hey, how did that presentation go? It just keeps the connection warm, reinforces its value.
Small, consistent efforts to acknowledge and nurture the bond.
That's it.
And the final rule, Rule 5.
Rule 5 advises, look for other bridge builders.
Okay, what does that mean? Seek out people who are also trying.
Pretty much. The guide notes that the best people to connect with are often the ones who are also actively trying to build bridges themselves. You'll recognize them, it says.
How?
They're the ones who will gladly accept your offer of a milkshake, or maybe they'll offer one themselves sometimes. It highlights the importance of mutuality, reciprocity.
Seek out relationships where both people are investing.
Exactly. Find people who are also open, willing, and maybe even eager to connect. It makes the whole process smoother, much more rewarding, and honestly, much more likely to lead to genuine, lasting friendships.
Okay, so with all these rules, these blueprints,
Yeah.
how does Leo's story wrap up? Does he transform?
Beautifully. The transformation comes full circle. The source describes him, months later, sitting in that same dining hall again.
But it feels different this time.
Subtly, but profoundly different. He looks up from his phone, but not using it as a shield anymore. He looks around with, genuine awareness. He sees the girl from his history class across the room and gives her a natural, easy wave. She waves back.
Nice. The footbridge held.
It did. He spots one of the guys from board game night and offers a warm nod. The guy nods back with a smile. The causeway is strong.
So the room feels different.
Completely. The guide says, the room no longer felt like a sea of anonymous strangers. It was a rich landscape of possibility, full of familiar islands waiting for deeper connection, full of budding archipelagos.
Wow, that's powerful imagery.
Isn't it? He no longer feels lost or stranded. The conclusion is just perfect. He wasn't stranded anymore. He was an architect, and he was just getting started.
That's incredibly empowering. It shows the real impact of taking those small, consistent steps. He literally reshaped his social world.
He did. He built it plank by plank.
Okay, amazing story. Amazing blueprints for the social side. But let's unpack this with that pivot we mentioned earlier. Because alongside building that social life, there's that other critical piece of life knowledge students especially need to get a handle on.
Right, the money matters.
Money matters. And while it might seem totally separate from making friends, managing your finances effectively is just as vital, isn't it? For independence, for reducing stress.
Absolutely. It sets you up for future success in all areas. Think of it as another set of essential blueprints for building a foundation of stability.
Yeah, because if your financial foundation is shaky, it can really undermine everything else, right? Including your ability to comfortably, say, go out for that milkshake.
Exactly. Financial stress can definitely impact your social energy and opportunities. So, taking a deep dive into the practical side of student financial life is crucial. For many, it's a completely new landscape they have to navigate.
Okay, so where do we start with the financial blueprints?
Budgeting. Yeah, budgeting is key. And what's fascinating here is that the sources we looked at really emphasize simple, actionable methods specifically for students. The goal is to make financial management feel less daunting, more empowering.
Like the social blueprints make it manageable.
Precisely. A really great, widely applicable example mentioned is the 50-30-20 rule. Have you heard of this?
Vaguely, yeah. 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% savings, something like that.
That's exactly it. It's a straightforward guideline to help you allocate your income smartly, puts you in control. So 50% for needs.
Okay, what falls under needs? Rent? Tuition.
Your absolute essentials. The bedrock of your financial bridge, you could say. Rent or dorm fees, tuition payments, essential transportation costs, necessary groceries, basic utilities, the non-negotiables that keep you housed, enrolled, and functioning day to day.
And for a student, that 50% could be a big chunk, right? Especially with tuition.
It definitely could be. Which makes the next categories even more important to manage. So 30% for wants.
This is the fun stuff. Entertainment, eating out.
Exactly. Discretionary spending. Things that enhance your life but aren't strictly necessary for survival. Entertainment, dining out with friends, new clothes that aren't essential, subscriptions like Netflix, hobbies, non-essential gadgets.
And the guide probably emphasizes really differentiating wants from needs here.
Crucially, especially if your needs slice is already large. This wants category is where you typically have the most flexibility. Small cuts here can make a big difference to the overall picture.
Okay, and the last 20%.
20% for savings or debt repayment. This is where you actively build that long-term financial stability. Your future self will thank you for this slice.
So putting money aside for emergencies, future goals, paying off loans.
All of the above. Building an emergency fund, super important. Saving for future goals, maybe grad school, a down payment on a car someday, or actively tackling student loans or any credit card debt you might have. This 20% is crucial for creating a financial cushion, reducing future stress, and building a truly strong financial future.
And even saving a small amount consistently in this category probably adds up over time.
Hugely. Compound interest is your friend if you start early, even with small amounts. It builds significant security over the long run.
Okay, 5E 30-20 seems like a good framework, but how do you actually make it work? You need to know where your money is going, right?
Absolutely. You have to track your expenses. But the guide suggests it doesn't need to be super complicated. You don't need an accounting degree.
So, no intimidating spreadsheets required. Unless you like spreadsheets.
Unless you like them.
Yeah.
But simple budgeting apps on your phone work great. Or just a basic spreadsheet you create yourself. Even, honestly, just a dedicated notebook where you jot down what you spend.
The key is just gaining clarity.
Undeniable clarity on where your money is actually going. Many students, many people really, are genuinely surprised when they first track their spending properly.
Yeah, those little daily purchases add up fast. The coffee runs, the delivery fees.
Oh, the delivery fees, they can be killer. Knowing your habits is the first, most critical step towards controlling them. It ensures you're allocating your money based on your actual priorities, the 50-30-20 plan, not just wherever it happens to disappear to.
It's proactive. like being the architect of your finances, too.
Exactly. It's just as much about building a secure future as building a strong social network. They both contribute to feeling more independent, more confident, less stressed.
Okay, so budgeting is the framework.
All right.
What about practical saving tips? Our sources mention some specific areas where students can often save money.
Yeah, definitely. Beyond just structuring the budget, the sources dive into really actionable tips for those common, often leaky student expense areas because, let's face it, every dollar counts, right?
Every single one. Small changes add up, more planks for the financial bridge.
Love that. Okay, so first up, food. This is a big one for most people.
Always. What's the advice? Cook more.
Classic, but incredibly effective. Cooking at home and meal prepping. It's almost always cheaper and usually healthier than eating out or relying constantly on delivery.
Takes a bit more effort, maybe, but pays off.
It does. Think about batch cooking simple, versatile stuff. Big pot of chili, pasta sauce, rice and beans, prepping salad ingredients. Also, really utilizing your student meal plan wisely if you have one.
Making sure you get value from what you've already paid for.
Right. Maximize those swipes, maybe use them for buffet-style meals where you can load up or grab-and-go options to avoid buying snacks later, and consciously cutting back on excessive takeout and delivery.
Those fees just add up so fast. Service fees, delivery fees, tips.
Easily adds 20–30% or more onto the food cost itself. It eats into your budget incredibly quickly. Also worth checking if your campus has things like food pantries or discounted grocery programs, often underutilized, but amazing resources.
Good point. Okay, food is huge. What about books? Textbooks can be insanely expensive.
Astronomical sometimes. So lots of smart alternatives here. Always check for used copies first online marketplaces like Amazon Marketplace or A-Books, campus bookstore used sections, maybe university Facebook groups for buying, selling books.
Renting is an option too, right?
Definitely. Renting textbooks instead of buying new is often significantly cheaper. Services like Chegg, Amazon Rentals, campus bookstore rentals. Digital versions are also increasingly common and often cheaper plus searchable.
And don't forget the library.
Never forget the library. They often have required readings on reserve, sometimes even ebook versions, and check for campus book exchanges or forums where students trade directly. Keep an eye out for open educational resources, OERs, to free, high-quality materials some professors are starting to use.
Lots of ways to avoid paying full price for textbooks.
Okay.
One more big area, entertainment. Important for sanity, but can drain the wallet.
Totally. Mental well-being is crucial, but you don't have to break the bank. The guide suggests looking for free campus events first.
Universities usually have tons of stuff going on, right? Free movie nights, concerts, speakers.
Sporting events, club performances, art exhibits, loads. And always, always use your student ID. Ask for student discounts everywhere. Museums, movie theaters, local shops, even some restaurants. Your ID is like a secret weapon for savings.
Good reminder. What else?
Explore free outdoor options, public parks, hiking trails nearby. Engage in low-cost hobbies like, hey, board games, which we already know are great for building social causeways too.
Double win.
Right. Maybe look for free trials of streaming services, but be ruthless about canceling before they charge you. Check for free versions of software or apps before paying for premium.
So lots of practical small things that add up.
Exactly. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're practical, actionable habits. When you apply them consistently, you build those financial footbridges and causeways to future stability. It's just like the social stuff.
Small, consistent, intentional choices.
That cumulatively lead to really significant positive outcomes, empowering you to navigate your world both socially and financially with way more confidence.
Wow. Okay, so we've really covered a lot today. We've journeyed from that feeling of being stuck on a lonely island to becoming a confident social architect, armed with these clear blueprints, the footbridge, the causeway, the suspension bridge, and those essential rules of the road for building real, meaningful connections.
We saw how transformative even a tiny 10-second interaction can be.
Yeah, and how genuine shared interests can form those solid causeways, and how that simple, maybe slightly scary, low-stakes invitation can bridge the gap from just knowing someone to actually becoming friends.
And we also touched on those equally vital blueprints for building financial stability, too, understanding that having a solid foundation in both areas really empowers you to thrive.
Absolutely.
And, if we connect this back to the bigger picture one last time, it's so important to remember these principles aren't just for college students.
No, they're universal.
Totally universal. They apply just as much when you're starting a new job, moving to a new city, maybe navigating a career change, or even just wanting to enrich the relationships you already have wherever you are in life.
That architect mindset.
Yeah, that architect mindset, being proactive, taking small steps, being resilient, always looking for opportunities to build and maintain connections. It's truly a lifelong skill.
It empowers you to actively shape your world, social and financial.
Instead of just passively reacting to it, right? It's understanding that connection and financial security, too, they're active pursuits, not just weeding games.
So what does all this mean for you, listening right now? Maybe consider your own social landscape at this moment, and perhaps your financial one, too. What kind of architect will you choose to be today?
Good question.
Will you maybe mend a rickety footbridge with just a simple hello or a quick question to a colleague or a neighbor you don't know well?
Or will you strengthen a causeway? Maybe finally join that group aligned with your passions, or just engage a bit more deeply in an online community you're part of.
Or perhaps, just perhaps, will you take that small, courageous leap of faith today? Build a suspension bridge by extending a casual, low-stakes invitation coffee lunch, join a group thing to someone you already know a little, turning that acquaintance into potentially something more.
And remembering those blueprints apply to finances too. What small, consistent action could you take today to build a slightly stronger financial foundation? Maybe tracking expenses for a day, packing lunch instead of buying it, freeing up that mental energy for connection.
The tools are there. The blueprints are in your hands. The power to build is yours.